Hi, I'm Arthur. And it goes without saying that I have gained a certain reputation when it comes to my opinion on Eldar, and for lack of a better way to phrase it, in the first minute and 7 seconds of the video where I can't swear, it's not good. But before I get into the exact extent as to why, here's a quick message from our sponsor. It's your boy, Raid Shadow Legends, here to let you know that they are still one of the hottest games on the market these days. Raid has sponsored this video, and I had to take them up on that offer because I actually play and enjoy their game. With some of the best graphics on the market, most expansive game design philosophies, and most engaging gameplay on the market, if you said at this point you'd never heard of them, I'd think you're lying. Being on Android, iOS, and PC, you can play pretty much anywhere. So click the link or scan the QR code on screen to start playing the game for free now. But if you thought I was just going to tell you to do it without a reward for your blind obedience, then you'd be wrong. Use my link and you will get the Epic Champion Lightsworn. And if you're a fan of my content, this dude is pinging some synapses in your brains right now like he did for me. He is very much a support tank with various buff and revive style abilities that I know you'll be able to use well. Not only that, but you'll be getting another epic champion at level 15, Juliana, who absolutely smokes bosses. Get these two epic champs by using my link. Not only that, but if you use the promo code Monkey King, you will get the one, the only, Sun Wukong himself. And in true fashion, he's a trickster that blocks and steals buffs. You can get all these for free by clicking my link and using the code Monkey King within the first 72 hours of your registration. Once again, be sure to click the link or scan the QR code to get all these awesome free goodies. Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. I don't like the Eldar. I tolerate the Dark Eldar, and the Harlequins are icky yucky. But that does not keep me from getting my grubby little mitts on them to discuss for this channel. I'm here to simply translate the facts so that all of you nerds can have a better understanding of the fundamentals of the lore. It's pretty simple like that, so where to begin? The Craftworld Eldar is the topic of today, so who are they? They are a subsection of the Eldari race, which during the fall of the species, bringing about the birth of Slaanesh like total chumps, the Craftworld Eldar lived on these planet-sized spaceships made out of a semi-sentient matter known as Wraithbone. What is Wraithbone? It's like psychic crystal stuff, I think? It's weird and not touched upon as much as you'd think, but there's a lot of information about what it can do. But suffice to say, it's a living, growing matter that is self-sufficient and able to support a vast and varied ecosystem upon these Craftworld ships. Due to the self-sufficiency of this matter, a lot of civilizations have basically just been born and died on these ships. Due to the self-sufficiency of these ships, not many of these Eldar that live on the Craftworlds have a reason to go see the planets that much, so all things considered in terms of like percentages, when Slaanesh got brought into the world by the Eldar Death Orgy's planetside, well, the Craftworlds weren't as affected as said planets. So each Craftworld is known to have a fucking litany of different beliefs, from some being peaceful and a bit quiet, and some being a little warlike, but it's okay because we enjoy when they are a little warlike, because as a species, as a collective conglomerate, as a spiritually enlightened theocratic dictatorship, I like to see when they struggle. Aight, so, with a few basics out of the way, let's just cover some opinion pieces here. 8 times out of 10, there is an Eldar in any story that isn't immediately evil. It's likely just the Craftworld Eldar because they are significantly easier to understand. But therein lies my main issue, and it's the reason why I think Pelinal Whitestrake had a few good ideas in him. Those being, kill them all and deal with no consequences later. The Craftworld Eldar deal with the end result of huffing copium like a bag full of gasoline fumes after millions of years. They honestly believe they know better than us, When the Eldar that are on the ships weren't 100% involved with the fall of their society, so them telling us how not to fall to chaos is like a vegan telling me how I should cook a pork chop so it tastes the best. I mean, sure, you probably know what the absence of this activity is like, but you don't exactly have a right to tell me anything. This is America, goddammit. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I don't need some whiny pointy-eared bitch telling me that I shouldn't destroy a demon artifact because it's for the good of the universe. Fuck you. Craftworld Eldar tech is a mixture of cool and fucking silly. Nothing more exemplifies this than their bolter equivalent, the Shuriken catapult, and yes, that is actually what it's called. It hucks monomolecular thin sheets of super mega glass in the shape of a shuriken using gravity-based railgun style technology. And I gotta say, that's kinda silly because, like, I get it, it's super effective, it's super sci-fi, and it's super aesthetically pleasing like a bolt gun, but the idea that they are firing ninja shuriken reeks of such weebery that it even makes the Tau look a little less like anime bait, and one of their models legit has an alien cherry blossom branch on it. The entire Eldar range is kind of similar to that, where the weaponry often come off as a bit try-hard, but some are pretty cool. Like, I think the fusion guns for the fire dragons are pretty neat, and I actually adore the Wraithbone constructs. To explain those a bit, basically you can mold the Wraithbone into larger, slow-moving bodies. The purpose of this is kind of twofold. When a Craftworld Eldar dies, their soul is put into a soul stone or a spirit stone, because if it isn't, they get eaten by Slaanesh, which I have been told is a bad thing. These soul stones are usually placed in the infinity circuit of each craft world, which is a complicated topic, but essentially it's an artificial afterlife and also like a battery for some shit. So instead, if you place the soul stone on a wraith construct, the consciousness inside is transferred over. So that's how you get wraith lords, wraith guards, etc., etc. These have a pretty cool aesthetic to them, though I will admit the long head can be a bit silly, but I enjoy the aesthetic of it. It's cool, very cool in fact, and I like that there is a single craft world out there that, due to losing the majority of their population, is mostly wraith constructs. It's very alien in appearance, which is why I think it's pretty interesting. But regardless, one last thing I want to state that is kind of a fun aspect to the Eldar is that they kind of have Primarch equivalents. Basically, the Phoenix Lords are a group of Eldar that are functionally immortal, and through this immortality, they have created a highly unique set of skills that they teach other Eldar in order for them to represent the aspects they embody. There are several different temples set up in the names of each one of these, and you can go there as an Eldar to learn this set of skills. Each one has a different specialization, like Malgan Ra, who specializes in forgetting the names of people and instead seeing them as grid coordinates, specializes in long-ranged sniper, kill it, and don't think about it. Or you have Jane Zar, whose specialization is getting blown the fuck up by a Night Lord that one time. Hey, think fast, shit-ass! So for those examples, Malgan Ra created the Dark Reapers, which are ranged specialists, and Jane Zar, she created the Howling Banshees, which specialize in dying horribly in melee, but they get there really fast, so that's cool, I guess. Jokes aside, the Howling Banshees are kind of cool. They have the ability to scream in a way that sounds like the call of death, and even creatures that are not related to the Eldar feel the fear of death be put into them whenever they hear it. They're also super melee experts, so it's kind of cool, I guess. I plan to go in depth about the Phoenix Lords, the temples, the Aspect Warriors, a lot more in the future in a different video, because for all my bitching, I actually do enjoy the kind of mini super Eldar aesthetic they got going on, even if they are still elves. Some of them are cool, and there's one whose fighting style is just plain, okay, which is a bit odd, I will admit, but the Eldar as a whole have this very clustered feel to them. Something that I tend to notice with 40k is that there is this constant feeling of playing catch-up with the older factions that have been around since the beginning of the setting. Essentially, there is this old lore that exists, and GW doesn't want to disrespect the fans by getting rid of it entirely, but they want to still keep it up to date and get rid of the silliness and the goofiness so that people can take the setting and the faction seriously. It's my tinfoil hat theory as to why the Eldar haven't gotten updated as much, because if you update the models, you have to make new entries and address that those models exist, and some of them do have lore that probably is either out of scale or just out of style with the rest of the setting itself. Another example is if you read the lore for Leagues of Votan, there's a lot of references to the old lore of the Squats because they're trying to play catch-up, like I said, by acknowledging that some of that stuff actually happened, but ignoring a lot of the stuff that did, and just assuming that we'll forget about it. But this is an entire community based on people who do not forget about this stuff. Good example for the Eldar. I honestly don't believe the Doom of Malantai is canon anymore. I think that the writers were having a laugh and didn't understand the absolute fucking scale they would have to endure with the idea of a kaiju-sized neurothrope that ate an entire craft world. It's why I don't think it's been brought up since, like, 5th edition of 40k? Bro, we are on 10th edition now, and if it hasn't done anything significant, it's likely just not gonna be a thing anymore. Though, the same could have been said for the Parasite of Mortrex, but I digress. My point is that the Eldar are constantly tripping over themselves to keep their canon consistent without having to rewrite a bunch of the old stuff so that the new stuff can kind of add on to it. Because people really like the old stuff that the Eldar had in like the earliest editions of 40k. It's why, as much as I criticize, and as much as everybody criticizes the Ynnari, I do think that it was a good idea to make a new Eldar faction to introduce a new method of storytelling, as well as just a new mythology in general. It moves the needle just enough for me to care. The Craftworld Eldar are lame. No needle moved, that is all. But what do you think about the Craftworld Eldar? Cool? Not cool? Agree with me? Or have you consumed too much anime as well, and think elf women are hot, and that some drunk remembrancer is God's gift to pornography? First of all, ew, you disgust me. Secondly, let me know in the comments. I will be checking because I am in my smoke collector era. Also, remember to like and subscribe, as it does help the channel out. And alongside that, I want to thank my channel members for supporting me through these dark and dismal times, and if you want to support me as well as gain access to additional content, then consider becoming a channel member today. Thanks again for watching, and before I go, I just want to say, fuck you in particular! Before I wrap up this video, just remember to click the link in my description or scan the QR code on the screen of the ad to download Raid Shadow Legends for free today.